Welcome everyone to GrantForward, the main webinar for administrators. So I believe here we have in the audience a lot of you are all from the grant office of sponsor program, maybe VP research office, maybe student fellowship office. Yes, you are all grant administrators, and your members, users of your institution count on your help to learn about grants. So therefore, our topic today is how to use GrantForward as a tool to, well, not only find grants, you know about that, but also to disseminate grants, to communicate relevant funding opportunities to your target audience, to the faculty group you are working with, or to the student group you are helping. Okay, good. So this is a public webinar, and we have quite a few people here. If you have any question, please use the chat text. I will be monitoring the chat text. Let me open it here. Okay, so I will be monitoring the chat as well. And my colleague also will help me monitor that. But if you have any burning question, you can feel free to just unmute and speak up. I'll be happy to address that. I also have received quite some questions from our pre-webinar survey of things you want to learn about. I will mix that into my presentation as well. Okay, so let's get started for grant dissemination. So in this webinar, in our next 1 hour, we will cover the following topics. First, how do I create the grant list and the search template? These are the very two basic notions about sharing. When you want to share, what do you share? You share a list of grants, or you share a very good search you have created. We will show you how you do that. Secondly, after you have grant list, you have search template. How would you create a newsletter, an email, bear the identity of your office, and then with your communication about relevant grants for your target audience, maybe on a specific subject, such as grants about STEM education or grants about diversity, okay, with a frequency of each week or every month. Okay, so we will show you how to create a newsletter here. An example newsletter would be, and I'm coming to my university inbox here to show you some example of a newsletter. This is an example newsletter from our means the University of Illinois. This is where GrantForward was originally created. Many use cases I will show will be from this institution. So this is an example newsletter from the Office of Research in the College of Engineering. So you may be an administrator from the central office of sponsor program. Yeah. However, grant dissemination, you can actually have this done with administrators from the central office or college or even department. We have use cases where multiple administrators perform this dissemination because administrators distributed in different departments, different academic units, they will know better what their faculty members or students would look for as relevant grants. So this is an example of a monthly newsletter. That's why it says May here. It has some news, some announcement, followed by the regular content would be relevant, useful funding opportunities. Here it's cross-cutting funding opportunities. These are grants. They are often, bigger because they span multiple disciplines, but also likely to be overlooked by your faculty members because these are not in their immediate area. So the grants are selected by this research office and then carefully formatted. And this is a monthly newsletter. And we can look at from the same office of research. It has this funding opportunity list. And this one is weekly. That's why it says Friday here. It has not much other content, no news. Okay, but here it focuses on grants categorized into, for example, limited submission. These are grants your office need to pay attention to coordinate because there's some restrictions such as only one submission per campus. That's why you want to announce and maybe coordinate an internal competition process. And the other things like grants for all faculty or grants for specialized faculty. Yeah, so this monthly and weekly communication on different subjects with different target audience in mind. You may create the multiple such communication and the target at a different group of faculty members or have them subscribe to the newsletter of their interest. So we'll talk about this. The third item, we will talk about another way of communication, which is a web portal. Okay, this is an example of a web portal, a website that's located at your office website, your office of sponsor program website. After you introduce the mission of your office of research, after you introduce the staff members, you may have a link to multiple list of grants that you can announce to your faculty members at your website. Okay, so for example, this example website I created for the use case of a Department of Life Science. Okay, so this department in this use case, they create this grant portal or the collection of funding opportunity information for faculty members in this department. Therefore, they announce grants from NIH because for the Department of Life Science, they care about every grant from this National Institute of Health. Every grant will be of great interest. Okay, or upcoming grants they will be due very soon. Okay, grants they will be due June 05. Okay, June 05. So you can create a search either through automatic search, through a search template, or through your curated list. For example, cross-cutting is a curated list. Limited submission is a curated list. Okay, good. Yeah, so you can also create such a web portal. All these are simply part of your grant discovery process. After you find out the grant list or search template, you can quite easily create the newsletter or web portal, sort of as like a side effect of your discovery of grants. Okay, so let's dive into our grant dissemination. I'd like to first introduce why we need to do this, because a lot of faculty members, researchers, they rely on your help. We have done survey, okay, and the literature also support this claim that as many as 80% of faculty members, researchers actually learn about grant, not through their taking initiative to search, only about 20%. This is true no matter how many grant databases you have subscribed to. All your faculty members, because they are busy. They are busy in teaching. They teach a few courses each semester, interacting with a lot of students. They are also busy in research. That's why they get funding for. And they therefore don't have the time to think about grants every day, even though they love to have grant funding. And they may also not have the skill to do search of grants. Many of you ask how to post my query keywords or filter so that I can tailor and create an effective search. Okay, you ask this question, your faculty member, student also will ask a similar question. Yeah, so they may not have this skill. Therefore, as many as 80% of all these, 8 out of 10 learn about grant through your communication, through email, newsletter, or through your grant portal. Okay, this is true even for the grants that they eventually got funded. So you are helping them is very important, and you are helping them will effectively amplify the value of the grant database service at your institution. Okay, so what is the flow of your dissemination? There are 2 ways. First, you can publish a newsletter. We show example. You can create a website. Both of these are useful. Why? Well, first, email is you push that to your faculty's inbox, and they have to digest it, and they will pay attention. They, in fact, will be looking forward to receiving your email. And this is most useful when they are busy in their daily routine but they still want to learn about relevant grant opportunities. So this is a usefulness of this push-based communication through newsletter. However, once in a while, a few times a year, your faculty PIs may actually think about finding grants. Well, for example, now the semester is wrapping up. They are starting their summer break. They will be thinking about their next grant because now they have a little bit time. In that case, they may not know that you have subscribed to GrantForward. However, they will know you have an Office of Research, Office of Sponsored Program. They will naturally come to your website and expect to find the grant information. Okay. Of course, you want to link to GrantForward from there, but better yet, you may have already compiled and curated a few lists of relevant grants so that your faculty PI can learn about the relevant grants right there at your website. This is why this grant portal is useful when they think about grants. Okay, so we emphasize the basic mechanism, the basic unit of dissemination is through a grant list, okay, or a search template. So why are these two actually quite natural? They want to learn about grants. So you can curate the grant list. This means that you have posted some search, maybe multiple searches. You have examined the result list of maybe 100 grants. You carefully pick 10 or 5 or 20, and you know what to pick because you are a grant expert. You have worked in the institution. You have worked in the grant office, the pre-award process. You know what grants are relevant, what grants likely your faculty members have good chance. Therefore, you curate grants. These are like a sharing with your faculty PI. If you want to share with them, fish is good for their health, right? So you want to share with them fish. You can share them a barrel of fish, a bucket of fish. Only the good fish you put into the bucket, or only the good grants you put into the list, they will see that. And as soon as you make an update to your grant list, they will see your update as well. Okay, so you are finding grant short list and you share with many people. You save their effort. You communicate them with grants that they should pay attention to. This is one way of sharing through grant list. The other way of sharing is you can simply create a search template because you have the skill, you have the knowledge, because you have attended the webinar of GrantForward. Because you know how to create good search. I will show you. And then you share this search to your PIs, to your students. They can run this search for the purpose of finding grants, such as finding grants that are about STEM education, for community outreach, or for cancer prevention, for different subjects. So in this case, again, come to the analogy of sharing fish. It's like you are sharing with them carefully created, crafted fishing pole, so that now they can go fishing anytime. They don't have to wake you up in the midnight. They can simply use the fishing pole, save the search to find the good grant, relevant grant anytime. Okay, this is also the way you can post grants to the website, many of these. So this upcoming on NIH, these are actually search templates. So the search is curated, but the grants are not. Every time you click on upcoming, okay, you will show the grants that will be due soon. Or click on NIH, you will show all the up-to-date result. Okay, next Monday, I click on this. The result will be different from what you are seeing right now. So this is search template. And grant list, this is another scenario where you can curate grants based on your expert knowledge about the preference, the strength of your institution. Okay, so either way would be very useful. So now I want to show you how we can create a search template. Okay, so many of you also ask about how to do search. I will show you how you can create a search and then save that as a search template. Okay, so I would like to use a typical search scenario. So a faculty PI come to you that he is a, say, computer science or technology faculty member, but he wants to branch out to do more about medical science, public health, to see how we can apply artificial intelligence, which is his area of study. So then with the keyword he mentioned, just like the way we do web search every day, you would come to post a topic. Okay, so he mentioned public health. He mentioned artificial intelligence. Let's post all these keywords here. I do a search. I get 456 here. Okay, you may want to say, I want to make this artificial intelligence here as a phrase. Okay, and in fact, he might have more specific goal. Say it's in cancer prevention or screening. So change this into cancer prevention, thought this might be more relevant. And you get a 42 result. You might think this is a lot for a specific niche area like cancer prevention using artificial intelligence. Okay, indeed, these are all relevant. These are all about cancer prevention and also mention artificial intelligence. Okay. However, we should want to get more. 42 is not a big number. And here we are only using keywords. We want to see a few hundred at least at this point. So that's why we suggest you want to click on this advanced keyword search. Okay, so first of all, I will move the artificial intelligence into any of the keyword. Why do I do this? Because artificial intelligence is only the perspective of this researcher, this PI. He wants to use artificial intelligence as his approach, but the sponsor may not require this. The sponsor may only be interested in the application area, the problem of cancer prevention. So therefore, it doesn't have to mention, it doesn't have to mention artificial intelligence. That's why we use any here. In fact, you want to add a lot of other keywords that are similar or related to artificial intelligence. For example, neural network, natural language processing, okay, deep learning, information technology. You can put some of these into double quote, which means it will be a phrase. Okay, so now, because each grant is usually broad in its scope, and from the sponsor perspective, it's likely only highlight, emphasize the application area, the problem they want to solve, such as cancer prevention. Therefore, I put cancer prevention in all of the keywords. Both of them must appear. And I would put the approach, the perspective, the preference of my PI into any of the keywords. This means that these are optional. Sponsor may not mention the approach. They may allow you to do anything, any approach, as long as it's relevant to cancer prevention. I will also think about many different ways of saying the same thing, such as neural network, natural language processing. These are all relevant to artificial intelligence. Of course, I do this by interviewing, discussing with the PI, but other keywords are relevant. Then we can do a search. Then we get more of these. 400, this is a right number, okay? I may want to further tweak. For example, I don't want to do anything about chemistry. This is probably well known because of my personal experience, my high school experience. I decided not to do anything about chemistry. I can fill in chemistry here, and this is none of the keyword. This means that, okay, any grant, luckily I have not removed too many. Any grant mentioning chemistry, I don't want to do it. So now, let's summarize. You use cancer prevention. These are more like the target problem application area. As all of the keywords, they must all appear. Okay, they must be very important. There must be something that the sponsor should mention. Okay, and then you put other more technical keywords that describe the approach, the perspective, the preference of the PI or your institution into any of the keywords. This means that none of them are truly required, but the more of them match, the better. And finally, you have this none of the keyword, chemistry shouldn't appear. Okay, so now we get a few hundred, this is a good number. Okay, so you look at these, some of these are, say, fellowship, and this looks like a research project, is a cancer development opportunity. Okay, and this is cancer control and prevention. The keywords are highlighted, and you know how to read each grant. This is the due date, July 11, that's the due date. This is the title, it's a fellowship. This is the sponsor, you can click on it. It will take you to the detailed information about this sponsor. You can also click on the link to visit the original website of the sponsor. Okay, and then other key information such as the amount, the deadline is summarized here. Sometimes there could be multiple deadlines like this February 12th, November 13th. Okay, these are multiple submission deadlines in addition to this calendar icon. Eligibility, these are description, often pretty complex, about the expectation of who can apply for both the PI as well as the institution, and how to submit. Okay, but now looking at all this, although we have 400, yeah, this is a decent number, but not all of them might match our purpose. For example, if you are finding grants to post in your newsletter for faculty members, this fellowship may not be something you want to include because it's about fellowship most likely for students. So that's why we need to use filters. Okay, so there are a lot of filters. They all arranged conveniently in the left side. Number one, I want to use grant type. So if I'm targeting at the faculty members, more like a research project, I don't want to report fellowship. Okay, the fellowship grant is gone, not internship, not work study. It should be a research project, not a training course, not a travel, not a workshop, not a postdoc. Collaboration grant is relevant. Equipment grant is relevant. This exhibition or publishing, others. Okay, so now I'm very specific about research project or company grants or capital grants, the 3 times. So it reduced the number. Okay. Next, I want to look at grants that are substantial. They say I want it to be more than $500,000. Okay. So now these are grants that will be sizable, okay, worthy of your announcement. I want to look at the grants that I can apply from my location. There are some grants that may have location restriction. Say you can only apply if you are located in California. For example, it's sponsored by California state or California relevant foundations. So here, the default is you can apply somewhere in US. Let's cross this out. Okay, I can specify my state. Say I am from, let's say I am from Illinois. I also can apply from Indiana. Let's include this. Okay, or you can simply click on this map bubble. It will allow you to choose locations that are relevant to your home location. So we are in central Illinois, Champaign here. Okay, so this is, I choose the location I can apply from. Grants that are outside of these areas, grants that I cannot apply from any of these areas will not be displayed to me. And next is activity location. Okay, here it means that once you are funded, you have to perform this activity. Okay, maybe it's a research project, maybe it's a community outreach. Okay, you have to perform this activity in certain location. Here, let's still fill in my home location because I don't want to leave home. I want to stay here. Okay, but you want to be careful here. There are some good grants that require you to maybe go abroad. Okay, then you don't want to check this. Okay, so now I also want to see grants. They will be due in the next couple months because I'm creating a newsletter. So I want it to be, I want the grants to be newsworthy, which means they will be due soon. Okay, so I want to look at grants. They will be due starting from June 01 to the end of maybe, let's say, end of summer, say September 30th. Okay, so now I get 196. Okay, so now this is pretty good. I can also look at other filter like a submission. If I'm looking at the grants, there are limited submission. For example, my office needs to coordinate. I can click on limited. Okay, so there are only 3 results. They are limited submission. I may look at them. I add them to my limited submission grant list. Okay, so this is a grant list. I have many grant lists already created. And I add them to the grant list. I will create a new grant list later. Okay, now I will uncheck this. So this is my search, and I'm happy with this search. Now I want to save this. Save a search. Let's call this my cancer prevention AI grant. Okay, I'm searching for grants for cancer prevention using AI approach. Let's call this a search. So I give a name. So I'm saving this search, meaning this set of criteria. I may also decide to receive alerts. Say every Monday I will receive new results. Let me show you here. So this is an example alert. It's loading here. It says, dear user, you have one safe search. It's called COVID-19 grants. You can imagine this safe search is using keywords like a pandemic, a SARS, COVID-19, and so on. Okay, so every Monday or every first day of the month, depending on your setting, you will receive new results matching your safe search. Okay, so let's go back. So now I say every Monday I want to receive alert. You tell me next time will be May 22, will be next Monday. Okay, so now we have created a safe search. Using keywords, we have added filters among the deadline. We then save it. So later on, I will show you how we can use this search template to disseminate our grants. I can disseminate to individual PI. I can disseminate to website. I will show you that. Okay, so now we have created a phishing poll. The next thing we can create is a grant list, okay? Because sometimes a search cannot totally describe what we want. I need to go through the list and curate that. For example, there are many grants from NIH. Maybe for some department, every grant from NIH is useful. But for other departments, they may only want to look at the grants from NIH, but matching the strength technical area of their faculty group. In the case, you need curation because you know you will target the faculty members. So now let's come to GrantForward again. So now it's blank. I want to update my grant list. So I will load my search. I say I have created a search called Cancer Prevention AI Grant Search. Okay, I load it. Well, this is one benefit of having saved our search criteria. Now I just loaded and everything, including the set of many keywords, key phrases, and the search criteria, the filters. I can modify them. For example, now I want to look at the grants. There are more than 1 million, okay? So I update my search after I load, and then I look at each grant. This is relevant to, say, Professor Smith. This grant, he asked me about grants for health disparity. So this grant is relevant. So I add to his list. This is the list I've already created. I'm only adding a grant to it. Let's also create a new list. Okay, let's call this my cancer prevention newsletter. Okay. So cancer prevention grants, I will use this to create my newsletter and dissemination later. Okay. So you can give it a color. Let's give it a bluish, greenish color. And you can determine how your grant should be sorted, ordered in their presentation. You can sort alphabetically. You can sort by earliest submission date. You can order them by deadline. Let's do deadline. Okay, so now I have created a new grant list called cancer prevention. I've added one grant. Let's add another. Okay, so you will do this grant list update regularly, such as once a week, every Friday. So you keep your grant list up to date, because whatever you put into your grant list, they will be shared as they are on the list to your target faculty members or the website. Okay, so now we have updated our grant list. Let's look at our result here. So under the grant list tab here, I've created a cancer prevention grant. There are 3 results here, 3 grants here. I've also updated the list of grants for Professor Smith. There are 10 grants here. I have also maintained, updated my limit to submission. All of these different grant lists, they will be useful later when we disseminate. I'll create newsletter from this list. I can also share the grant list directly to individual PI or departments. Okay, so we have talked about how to create a search template, how to build and update grant list. Next, I want to talk about how you can create newsletter. Okay, so what is a newsletter? Let's first refresh a little bit so we are on the same page. So this is example newsletter, a monthly series from the Office of Research. The name of it is called Office of Research Newsletter. This one is May 2021, and there are many of these. For example, this one is November 2022. Okay, so monthly you send out an instance of this newsletter in this monthly series. Okay, and this is another series. This one is called Funding Opportunity List. Its format looks different, but it's from the same office. And every Friday, your faculty PI, they know your newsletter schedule. They will be looking forward to your newsletter. And this one emphasizes only grants, no other content. So here, you see our communication first, it needs to have a regular schedule and then a predefined topic focus, so that your faculty PI know what to expect. They may want to subscribe to your different focus of newsletter, different schedule. So that's why we first would create a series. A series is, well, the format and the template and the subject of your newsletters. You do this only once. After that, you will keep publishing newsletter under the series you have created. So I will come to the administrator console. I can see this administrator console because this account is administrator member type. Okay, so this is not end user. This means grant specialists, grant administrators in grant offices. You should already have this account type. There is no limit on how many administrators you can have in your GrantForward service. So if you are not an administrator yet, but you want to do grant dissemination, you can ask your existing administrator to change your account type to administrator under the user management. Here, under administrator console user management, they can upgrade your account to administrator. We can do that for you as well. So after that, you will see administrator console. Now I want to do grant delivery newsletter. Okay, so first I need to create a series. I do this only once. Let's call this Illinois Cancer Prevention Grant Weekly Highlight. So you see, this is the name of the series, so I can remember that. Okay, so this is for my institution, so I call it Illinois, and the subject is cancer prevention, and its frequency is weekly. That's why I put all these in the name so I can remember it. This will be the subject line. This is also quite informative as a subject line in the newsletter email, so I will put this here. You may actually want to include some up-to-date value here, so it shows some sort of timeliness. So I want to put in the subject line the day of the week. If I send out today, here it should show Tuesday, because today is Tuesday. And if I send out today, I also want to include the full date. Okay, so this means that this is the full date. If I send out today, it will be May 16th. Well, I can even include the full name of the PI. This means that if I send out to the PI whose name is John Smith, who received your newsletter, they will see that this is for John Smith. Okay, so the name will be shown here. Okay, so next, this is the subject. Next is how do you want your newsletter series to look like? Your series should have a consistent format that you can, the look and feel that your PI can recognize. Okay, so there are many built-in templates you can use, or you can simply copy-paste. If you have existing newsletter, you can copy-paste it into this editor. Let me use this. Okay, so let me customize it. The title now change to cancer prevention. Here, full date is good. College, I don't need to mention this. Okay, unit, this is the name of the academic unit. I don't need to mention this as well. Newsletter section number 1, this is I want to customize. I want to make some announcement. What exactly will be announced? I will fill in when I actually publish a newsletter. And the second section, I want to announce events. For example, I have a workshop. I can fill this in when I actually publish. I want to have a few sections. So let's say I want to have a section called the federal grant. Okay, I want to have a section called the foundation grant. Okay, this will all be about the grants that are relevant to cancer prevention in this example. I want to do some graphic. I want to put some, let's see here, this one. I want to customize it so that my PI can recognize which office sent this newsletter. So I copy paste a logo of the institution I'm now working at here, so that I can make this newsletter become something that my faculty member will look at that and see they are familiar with this icon. Okay, so next, after creating the general format here, next I want to decide how each grant should be formatted. Okay, so here each grant should be formatted in a consistent form, such as the title in boldface and other things in this italic font and so on. So that's how we want to tell GrantForward how to do things. I want the title to be in red color. I want the key information, the key parameters, such as sponsor and deadline, to be in bullet. I want the deadline here, I like it to be highlighted with purple color. I also want to mention other grant variable, okay, such as internal deadline. Okay, so this will fill in the internal deadline if you have an internal deadline for submission within the institution. So this is how each grant will be presented. Now we are done. So it's pretty simple, actually. Okay, good. So we do this once, maybe in the beginning of the year. You may modify that, but then you will keep reusing it. Now it's a Friday. You want to publish newsletter for next week. So you come to the newsletter tab. You have already updated your grant list. Okay, so you have your up-to-date content you can insert into your newsletter. So now I will click on create a newsletter. I will call out my series, the Cancer Prevention Grant Weekly highlights. The title is filled in. Okay, the format is filled in, the logo, the title here, announcement, let's see. Happy final exams. When there are final exams, students are not happy, but faculty members are happy. They are done with the semester. So happy final exam. Events here, I'll just leave this gibberish here. Okay, you can fill in any workshop or orientation you have. Here, federal grants. This is why we update our grant list before coming to creating the newsletter, because I can simply select the grant list, say cancer prevention. I want to sort by deadline. Okay, so load it. So the grants that we have created, maintained in our grant list, we have 3 grants there on the list. They are inserted and sorted by the deadline June 05, June 16, and then July 28th. Each grant is formatted. Say the title is in red color. The key information here is in bullet. And then the deadline is highlighted. You can make any editing. For example, you think that this one is too long. Okay, I can simply cut it short. The amount here, I can say that. Just show the number. I may want to highlight the amount here. You see, I can make any editing as I see fit. Okay, and now I can insert multiple lists. Next, foundation grant. I do have a grant of foundation here. This time I want to sort alphabetically. Okay, so here, foundation grant inserted, sorted alphabetically, American, A, Bank of America, B, customized, C. So they are sorted alphabetically. Again, I can do any editing. For example, I don't want to include this grant. I want to save it for next week. So I delete it. The grant still is on your grant list. It just will not be included in the newsletter. So now I can see the preview. Okay, Illinois Cancer Prevention. Okay, Tuesday. This is today's weekday, May 16. Today's full date for John Doe. This is the name of the researcher who will receive this. Okay, Illinois Cancer Prevention Grant Weekly highlights. Yeah. So May 16, announcement, happy final exam event here, federal grant, and then foundation grant. So if you like it, okay, you can just send out through GrantForward, or you can copy it to anywhere you can use it, such as your newsletter creation. If you have another content management system, you can just copy this, or you can send out through your own email. Say I send out through my own Outlook here. I copy paste the newsletter generated. This is how I can send this after it's created by GrantForward through my own email account. But there are more convenience and advantages if you send out through GrantForward. GrantForward will be able to track the feedback as well as also post it at the website. So that's why you can do this at GrantForward. Let's come here. Okay, so I can close this. I can say save newsletter and send it. Okay, let's send to a department. Say for a unit, I send to Department of Psychology. Okay, edit. So now it's sending to this department, and I set the time to publish Friday 19th at 4 o'clock. So on Friday at 4 o'clock, when people are in their best possible mood, it's Friday, it's coming to the weekend, you will send this newsletter. And then GrantForward will also collect the feedback here after send out newsletter, thumb up, thumb down. Okay, yeah, so this is how you can do newsletter. Now I want to show you the last topic about how you can create a grant portal. Okay, so newsletter is useful when you regularly communicate, push the relevant information to their inbox. Website is useful when they think about grants. and they have a place to learn about the current grant selection, grant information you want to tell them about. I create this website in about 30 minutes altogether, and it has actually three grant lists. This limited submission is a curated list because there are tons of limited submission. Not all of them my faculty PIs may have interest. Therefore, I select a few from my experience, from their historical submission. I know that these are limited submission my office may need to coordinate. So I have this limited submission grant list. This is curated. I have an NIH. This is safe search. Every time user click on this, the safe search will run and they will see up-to-date result. I also have this newsletter tab. These are newsletters I have published, and I can embed them because your faculty PI will be asking. I remember seeing that grant in your newsletter last week, but I cannot find it. Okay, that's why you can point them to your website. You have the archive of your historical selection. They can easily find it. Okay, so all of these grant list or search template like NIH or newsletter, they are all done in the same way. And it's pretty simple. Let me show you. I will go to WordPress. I'm using WordPress simply as a tool to create the website. You may be using a different service like a Drupal, but they are very similar. Okay, in this WordPress, there are really only two things. So I know very little about WordPress. This is as much as I know, but it's pretty sufficient. Number one, in your WordPress or in your Drupal, you need to have the theme of your institution. So the website will look like it's something from your university. So I have this theme file from our IT. You will find yours. Further, I have created all these many pages. Let me delete this one because this was for another demo. I have a page for cross-cutting, a page for limited submission, a page for NIH, a page for upcoming, and a page for newsletter. Let me create another page called the Cancer Prevention Grant. And you will see how I create a page. This is called the Cancer Prevention Grant. I fill the title. The only thing I need, I want to fill in a line of code to tell it to get the grant list from GrantForward. So I come here, I come to Administrator Console, come to Grant Delivery. I want to deliver grant to website. I click on Curated Grant List. Say I want to share my cancer prevention grant. I want to share it or deliver it to my website. I can share to people, actually, different departments. But now I want to share to website. That's why I click on Embed. I copy this line of code. Okay. I put it into my WordPress. This is all I need to do. If you ask your IT to help you, it takes them about 2 minutes. So make sure you do not buy them lunch because you will not need them anymore after these 2 minutes. So now we are done. Okay, let's go to the website. We upload the page. So now the next user will see the cancer prevention grant here. However, you put on the list. Currently, this display is a fixed format, but as a question asked here, can this be formatted according to your wish? Not yet, but we are working on that. We thought that's also valuable. Yeah. So yeah, so this not currently is a fixed format here. You'll pull the grant from your grant list, and after this initial linking, you don't need to mess up with WordPress anymore. You don't need to ask your IT to help. For example, if you want to remove this microbiome grant, okay, you don't need to use WordPress. You simply come to GrantForward, just like the way you update your grant list. Here, this is cancer prevention. The first one is microbiome. Let me exit out. So the next user who view the page will not see that grant. It's removed. If you want to add a new grant, you simply perform your search. We still have our search here. Okay, let's add this grant list called, let's see, this cancer immunoprevention network. Let's add it to our grant list. Okay, so the next user who visit your website will see this new grant, the Cancer Immunoprevention Network. Okay, this is how you actually update your website, simply by updating it at GrantForward. And you have other ways, like this NIH tab. This is actually not a curation of grant list. This is simply a search criteria run every time. So let me show you here. It's still under grant delivery, and it's under search template. I have a search template called the NIH grant, and I have embedded in the website in the same way. That's why I can show every time up-to-date search result from NIH without my hand curation. Good. So this is about web portal. Okay, so I have shown you how you can build the grant list, how you can create a safe search. After that, you can disseminate by creating a newsletter from your grant list, or build a grant portal to display the grants you select, or the automatic search at your website. So if you have any question, you can check out our support material. We have a lot of support material at the GrantForward website. You'll find all kinds of tutorial, guideline, use case, and the recorded webinar. Okay, this is one way to get help. You can always email us at support@grantforward.com. And this is probably the most liked. You can always ask for a one-on-one support session. We'll be happy to meet with you. Of course, no additional charge, nobody like that. We are happy to work with you to develop solutions. For example, design a newsletter or website. We're happy to work with you so we can see how you use the product, how we can make it more valuable. And we also learn a lot of idea how to improve the product. Good. And finally, additional info. We also provide help on custom curated grant list. If you have certain subject you would like to curate a list, and professionally maintained, such as grants for STEM education, or major institutional center grants, multi-institutional big center grants, we can provide that. We also provide the help to custom build web portals. You can ask us. Good. So now I can see if you have questions. We have a few minutes. Feel free to just speak up or use the chat. One question here is it possible to use university template? If this question is for newsletter, yes, it's totally, you can use whatever university template, the theme file, you have total decision on that. If it's for website, you have everything on the page. You can determine with the look and the feel of the university, because you will be using the theme file, as I showed earlier. You will be using the theme file of the university like this. However, each grant currently is a fixed format. We are working on making it more flexible so that you can decide what information you want to display for each grant, and the color theme, the font type, and so on. So this is currently not available, but we are working on that. Okay, more question? Oh, okay. So we have an interesting question here about how to mark a grant as being excluded. Yes, you can do that. I think Serena answered in the chat, but let me show you how you can do that. So this often happens that when you are using similar keywords, say cancer prevention, and you may also use cancer screening, you may see the same grant coming up again and again because these grants are similar. Okay, so you can actually click on this. If you mouse over to the lower right corner, exclude from your search, then this grant will not be, you select a reason, okay, this grant will not be displayed in any of your future search, so that you won't be bothered by the same grant. It might be because you have already shortlisted that grant, or you have already decided the grant is not relevant. But this may sound very serious that you may mark a lot of grants to become hidden, but you can always find your grant in your here in your history. You can always view the grant you have excluded. I have just excluded this notice of special interest. Okay, so here you can see grant you have excluded. You can revoke it, resurrect it, or you can see the grant you have viewed carefully. Yeah, so this history is also useful for the purpose. Good. So another question here. I may need to clean up our department or unit list to standardize a bit. Okay, so here you are asking about the department and the unit list. So this is done under the user management, under administrator console. There are three kinds of user. One is individual user account, of course. Here you can, for example, upgrade a specific user, such as Smith, to have an administrator account. Okay, and here this is managing custom group. But in terms of institution unit, here, okay, so here, this is where you want to create the organizational structure, the various departments. So we are a state department, a state university, very large, have more than 400 departments. So these are the units. You really do not need to include every unit here. It should be only the unit you want to communicate with, because you can send grant list or safe search to specific unit. So first, you want to include probably only the unit you want to communicate with. And for each unit, okay, because not every faculty PI may create an account at GrantForward, but you still want to reach every one of them. That's why we also suggest you that you can add a mail list, such as the faculty at aerospace.illinois.edu. This is an example of mail list, and this mail list is managed by your IT, not by GrantForward. So you can actually send a newsletter to the aerospace engineering department through that mailing list, and they will all receive the grant newsletter. So this is another tip of doing this. Number three, you can always ask us. We'll be happy to help you to clean up your organizational structure according to what you want. We do that all the time, help you to customize so that you can disseminate more easily. Okay, just to make sure we are on the same page, I want to show you, because I didn't show you earlier, that when you disseminate, okay, for example, this cancer prevention, okay, we created, we have not added recipient yet. We only display it to the website using embed. But here I can share it. I can share to specific unit. This is why we create mailing list earlier. So I can say aerospace. Okay, unit. The unit doesn't display here. There might be some issue. Yeah, but you can also communicate with group or member. Let's see, a specific member like Professor Smith. Okay, so you can communicate with department, with group, or with specific member. We can help you to create account, create department, so that when you want to communicate with specific target, you will find them. Okay, so this is how you deliver grants. Good. Do we have more questions? Okay, great. So looks like I've answered all the questions. If you have more questions, feel free to ask us via email at support@grantforward.com. And also we are happy to do one-on-one support session to learn about your workflow and how we can develop solution together with you if you find any technical issue or technical difficulty. Thank you very much for attending this webinar in the beginning of the week. I hope you have a good rest of the week. Thank you.